And Senator, good morning to you. Welcome back to the show.
Good morning, Chris. Great to be with you.
Well, listen, a lot of news since we talked just a few days ago. Chief among them, all the stories coming out yesterday about you and Governor Kasich. Governor Kasich was in South Philadelphia, and he says something about, hey, yeah, if you want to vote for me in Indiana, go for it, which everybody says this shows a split in the strategy that you and Governor Kasich deduced. What's going on there?
Oh, look, it was very simple, which is John Kasich and I disagree on many policy issues, but we both agree on one thing, which is that Hillary Clinton being elected president would be a disaster for this country, and that nominating Donald Trump ensures that Hillary wins. If Donald Trump is the nominee, Hillary wins by double digits. And so Governor Kasich's campaign made the decision to pull out of Indiana and give us a clean shot at Donald Trump in Indiana, and they're focusing their resources elsewhere, and we are campaigning hard in Indiana.
Senator, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I know we're tight on time. I know you are too. I'm just curious, how are you doing generally? What's your attitude and mood at this point? Because you are being accused of things. I'll just say it myself, as a guy voting for you today in the primary. You can dislike you can dislike your policies, but this idea that you're cheating or gaming the system, I've personally just had enough of it. Win. You've got to get 1,237 delegates. You've got to win. You all want to do that. That's all. It's that simple.
Chris, I'm doing terrific. I am encouraged by the passion of so many grassroots activists across this country to turn the country around. This latest narrative came because Donald Trump started losing, which is prior to the New York primary. Last week Donald won his home state. But prior to that, 5 states had voted over 3 weeks, and we'd won 5 landslides in a row, starting with Utah, then North Dakota, then Wisconsin, then Colorado, then Wyoming. All 5 of those were landslides. 1.3 million people voted in those 5 states, and we won landslides over and over again. Now, Donald Trump is someone who cannot handle losing. Psychologically, it tears him apart, and his only response to losing is he lashes out, he screams, he yells, he curses, and he insults everyone. And so he began insulting the voters and claiming everything was rigged. When the voters vote against you, it's not rigged, you're losing elections. And unfortunately, the media just echoes his attacks. But the facts are simple. Republicans are uniting behind our campaign because they recognize that Donald Trump as nominee would be a train wreck and would be a gift for Hillary Clinton.
How important is it to you today, Senator, that people in Pennsylvania that are going to vote in this primary pay attention to the delegates? Because this is something a lot of people have called a show or emailed me and said, this delegate thing, I didn't know anything about it. I've been voting for years. I didn't know. I don't understand how it works. Well, tell folks about the delegate process in Pennsylvania. Does it matter to you today?
Well, it certainly matters. And it is important, number one, for every conservative to come out and vote today. I ask you to come out and vote. If you want to find out who your conservative delegates are, you can go to www.2016delegates.com/PA with a list of conservative delegates. But I also want to mention, if you're number one, a conservative, I ask you to come out and vote, and I ask for your support. But if you're number 2, just a Republican who wants to win, I ask for your support. In order to win, you've got to be able to, number 1, win the nomination, number 2, win the general. There are 2 candidates in this race who can win the nomination, me or Donald Trump. The nominee will be one of the 2 of us. There are 2 candidates in this race who can win the general, me and John Kasich. There's only one person who can do both, win the nomination and win the general. So if you don't want to hand the election to Hillary Clinton, do not vote, I ask you, for Donald Trump. But if you want to beat Donald Trump, don't vote for John Kasich either, because if you vote for John Kasich, as Mitt Romney said a couple of weeks ago, a vote for John Kasich is a vote for Donald Trump. The only way to beat Trump, the only candidate and campaign that can beat Trump, is our campaign.
Has Donald Trump been fully vetted, in your view? Is that, because to me, one of the questions I have is, do we know all we need to know about Donald Trump if Donald Trump's the nominee?
We should, but listen, the media has given Donald Trump $2 billion of free media advertising because the media execs are all partisan Democrats. They're ready for Hillary, and they recognize Donald Trump is the only candidate on earth Hillary can beat in the general election. What we do know is that on policy, Donald's views are very, very similar to Hillary's. Last week, Donald Trump came out on the Today Show and came out for higher taxes. Both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are campaigning saying they want to raise your taxes. We also know that Donald Trump agrees with Hillary Clinton on taxpayer funding for Planned Parenthood. Indeed, both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton say Planned Parenthood is, quote, terrific. We also know that Donald Trump agrees with Hillary Clinton on the individual mandate in Obamacare. Donald Trump says he supports the individual mandate in Obamacare. So does Hillary Clinton. We also know that last week on the Today Show, Donald Trump came out for allowing grown men into little girls' restroom. He agrees with Hillary Clinton on that. Donald Trump's campaign is run by Washington lobbyists, and his Washington lobbyist campaign manager last week went to the top officials at the RNC and said everything Donald is saying is an act. He's putting on an act. It's staged. He's simply playing a part. If you care about illegal immigration, Donald Trump told the New York Times editorial board he doesn't believe what he's saying on immigration. He's not going to build a wall. He's not going to deport anyone. And if you're tired of being lied to by politicians, Chris, Donald is literally telling us he's lying to us.
There have been stories, and
sure.
Senator, I'm sorry to interrupt, but there have been stories that suggest that you're considering announcing a potential VP pick before the convention. Is there any truth to that?
Well, we are certainly looking at potential VP picks, and any responsible candidate would do that. We're less than 100 days out from the convention, and you've got to vet candidates. You've got to examine different possibilities because, we need a president who's up to the task. And so we're certainly examining different possibilities. There's been no decisions that have been made in terms of who the nominee would be or what the timing would be, but we're in the process of vetting right now.
Can you come out of Cleveland, Senator, and I mean the passions are so high and people are so angry and it's getting so personal. Can we come out of Cleveland unified? I think back to 76. I wasn't around to participate, but it's the last time. And I'm hearing some fellow hosts on nationally syndicated radio programs acting like, well, if Trump gets close, that should be close enough and let him have it. Otherwise, there'll be riots or there'll be people angry. That just seems, I think back to Reagan, Ford, comparatively.
Yeah, no, that's foolishness. If Trump gets close, you know what? The test for winning the nomination is to earn a majority of the delegates elected by the people. Trump can't get a majority, which is why his surrogates are pushing, well, he shouldn't have to have a majority. If Trump's the nominee, Hillary Clinton wins by double digits. That is, it would set the country back. If Trump is the nominee, we lose the Senate, we may lose the House, we lose the Supreme Court for a generation. Now,
do you think Pat Toomey's seat is in jeopardy if Donald Trump's the nominee in Pennsylvania?
If Donald is the nominee, every blue state and purple state Republican running is in grave jeopardy, and there's nothing that can be done about it. If the polling right now, in the general election, Hillary Clinton beats Donald Trump in Pennsylvania, and Hillary and I are tied in Pennsylvania. If I'm the nominee, Pat Toomey gets reelected. If Donald Trump is the nominee, the Senate is gone, and there's nothing you can do about it. And yes, it is important for us to unify the party after the convention. That's going to be a challenge, particularly when Donald Trump can't earn a majority, if he throws a fit, as is entirely likely, and if he blames the voters, as is entirely likely. I'm going to work very, very hard to unite the party. We're seeing the party unite right now. Of the 17 candidates who started this race, 5 have endorsed our campaign. We've been endorsed by Rick Perry, by Lindsey Graham, by Jeb Bush, by Scott Walker and Carly Fiorina. And I would note the issues at the heart of our campaign, jobs, freedom, and security. My number one priority is jobs, economic growth, bringing jobs back to America, raising wages. Those are the issues that resonate with the Trump supporters. And so I ask the Trump supporters to come stand with us, and we are fighting for the issues you care about. And we've got to unite. If we do not unite, the country that you and I love with all of our hearts is in profound jeopardy.
Senator, must you win Indiana? Is that a must-win for you?
Indiana is a very important state. We are campaigning hard here. It matters a great deal. Today could well be a very good day for Donald Trump. The states that are voting are northeastern states. They have tended to be further left politically. In Pennsylvania in particular, we spent real time there. I encourage people in Pennsylvania to come out and vote. But the media's view is that Pennsylvania is essentially a suburb of Manhattan, and that the impact of the New York primary is that Pennsylvanians will just follow along. I've got more faith in the people of Pennsylvania, but I ask you to come out and prove the media wrong. And if we stand together, we are going to bring back jobs to this country. We're going to reduce the burdens of the federal government on small businesses. As president, I will repeal every word of Obamacare. We'll pass a simple flat tax and abolish the IRS. We'll rein in the regulators that are killing jobs, and we will stop amnesty and end sanctuary cities, and that's going to bring jobs back to America and raise wages for all of us.
Senator, my best to you and your family out there. Thanks for your time, and good luck today and throughout the rest of the campaign.
Thank you, Chris. God bless.